Welcome everyone to our first Spark session of the summit, where we will explore the world of digital jobs and how they can create opportunities for youth in different situations. As I mentioned, this is the first Spark session. What is a Spark session? Is a short session where we want to provide introduction to a series of innovative solutions being led by our S4YE partners on different aspects of the youth agenda. Now, in this session in particular, we will hear from 3 speakers who will share their perspective on digital jobs, which are not just a source of income, but a way of empowering youth, but also including youth in different situations. Whether they live in rural areas, refugee camps, urban slums, youth can access digital, provided they have the right infrastructure and skills. So this session will highlight the various benefits of digital jobs for youth, but also explore how they can learn the necessary skills and the competencies to succeed in this market. So first, we will learn about data annotation as an opportunity for refugees from Hester Gartrell, Chief Impact Officer at Humans in the Loop, who is joining us from Sofia, Bulgaria. Welcome, Esther. Now, Humans in the Loop is a social enterprise that aims to support people affected by conflict to digitally upskill and access work in the global digital economy while providing high-quality data annotation services to clients. Second, we'll discover how digital work is a form of online employment that can provide income and skill to rural youth who have access to smartphones and internet. Safia Hussain, who is co-founder, Chief Impact Officer at Karya, joining us from Bengaluru, India, will talk about Karya, a data cooperative born out of a Microsoft research project and providing AI-enabled digital work to people for marginalized communities across 22 regions in India. Welcome, Safia. And third, we'll hear from Alvin Mukabwa, who is the COO of Generation Kenya, joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome, Alvin. And Alvin will talk about an innovative approach to mentorship for digital jobs from Generation, a global nonprofit working in Kenya, which uses an innovative super agent model to mentor and train new freelancers in Kenya. Now, I would like to give the floor to Hester for her lightning presentation. Each speaker has about 5 minutes. But before I do that, I would like to invite all of you to join the discussion and ask questions to our speakers through the chat feature. I hope this session will spark your interest and curiosity about the potential of digital jobs for youth in different contexts. Over to you, Esther. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Federica, and it's a pleasure to be here today with you. Please, can I ask to move to the next slide and the following one, please? I want to start off by talking about the problem that Humans in the Loop aims to address. As you know, and many people are aware of, there are over 108 million people who've been forcibly displaced in our world. That's 1 in 74 people. When people are displaced, they often lose access to work, career opportunities, and education. This also means that many are forced to take jobs that are unsafe, unstable, or do not meet a living wage. At Humans in the Loop, we aim to support people and to address this problem by providing digital upskilling and access to digital work. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. We have a very unique impact sourcing model. We are a social enterprise, partly a foundation and also a company that provides data annotation services. We work globally, so while we are based in Bulgaria, we have a strong network of partner NGOs across Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Lebanon, and Bulgaria, as I've already mentioned. We also do a number of short-term interventions which focus on digital skills and also digital access to work. And we've done these short programs in a number of other countries also affected by conflict or supporting people who have been displaced by conflict. Our NGO partners are absolutely essential to our work. They help us to recruit, train, and manage our annotators, and they help us to ensure that we pay our annotators because many of our annotators are living in insecure, fragile environments where payment methods can be very difficult. And for us, in order to have this global, diverse group of people working for us, we have to have on-the-ground partners who understand the context and are able to work at a grassroots level. Next slide, please. So why is annotation such a fantastic opportunity, and why are we working in this area as an organization that looks to support people who have been affected by conflict? Annotation is a fantastic entry-level opportunity. It enables people who have not previously had experience of working in the digital sector to access the global digital economy. The basic skills for annotation can be taught quickly and easily. It's a fantastic opportunity for young people. Around 30% of our cohort are under 25. So while we are not only working with young people, they do make up a significant proportion of our annotators. And it's a really fantastic way for people to enter the labour market, to gain skills. It's also something that is very flexible. It really sits within that micro work environment, and that means that it can be done from home. As long as somebody has internet and a laptop, it can be done from anywhere. So even if someone continues to move, to change location, it's definitely an option for them to continue to work. And it also enables us to work in contexts where women may not be able to leave the home or may not wish to leave the home and want to work in the home environment. We're very, very focused on opening up digital opportunities to women as well. So this is a really important component for us. However, I want to also say that annotation is not only an entry-level opportunity. It also is an opportunity for high-level experts who've been displaced by conflict, such as doctors or engineers. At Humans in the Loop, we have a specific project called Doctors in the Loop, which aims to utilize the skills of medical professionals who've been displaced by conflict to develop innovative AI models. For example, to support data annotation projects that will be used to develop robotic surgery or to diagnose patients quicker. In this case, it's really important that those people have a high level of specialist and professional skill, and it can be a perfect opportunity for somebody who has been displaced and can no longer work in their sector, and perhaps is taking some time to re-qualify or have their qualifications recognized. So annotation is not just an entry-level opportunity, but also something that can be used to support people who've been displaced, but with a high level of professional skill. Next slide, please. At Humans in the Loop, our annotation services are really broad, and we focus mainly on providing high level of quality service to our clients. However, as I've suggested in our Doctors in the Loop project, we very much focused on working with AI for good. What does that mean? It means that we do not only aim to make an impact on people's lives in terms of people who've been affected by conflict and paying those people a decent wage. We always pay above the minimum national wage in the country in which that person is based, but also we aim to make a broader social impact with our work. We are working in the sphere of medical annotation, agricultural annotation, and also climate technology. With this broad social impact, we are able to support the AI sector to develop important projects that have a global impact and make our world a better place. We also are able to support the diversification of AI. We hear often about the bias that is inherent in AI systems that have been created when we have a developer or a group of people working behind that AI system who are from one culture, one country, and one mindset. By opening up annotation opportunities to people affected by conflict across the world, we are able to contribute to AI systems which are reflective of our world, the diversity of our world, and to fight against bias. Thank you. Next slide. Finally, I want to finish off by saying for us, it's very, very important that not only is our foundation making impact, but also our company. We're a B Corp certified organization. We also are very proud to have made a large impact globally across the last 6 years, reaching over 1,000 people, distributing over 1.2 million euros in income to people affected by conflict, we continue to face challenges. For example, institutional, governmental, and structural challenges in some of the areas that we work in, for example, Afghanistan and Lebanon, related to legal payment methods and right to work and social security for people affected by conflict. I hope that these are some of the things that we can pick up in a discussion or in questions afterwards. But I'm going to wrap up there, as I know I've gone slightly over time, and pass over to our next contributor. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Over to Safia.
For joining. Today I'm going to speak to you skilling in AI and how AI can be a catalyst for both learning and economic development. Next slide, please. Sorry, I guess after that. So I want to start us off today with a number, 30 cents. Many data workers in the global south make as little as 30 cents per hour creating AI training datasets. That isn't even enough to buy a stick of gum, yet we're expecting people to be able to live on this. Let's not forget, this is an industry worth literally hundreds of billions of dollars. So what does this fundamentally lead to? Next slide, please. What it leads to is an unjust labor market, one where we're a multi-billion dollar industry and data sets worth hundreds of dollars per hour are being held up by workers that are literally paid pennies on the dollar, despite doing most of the heavy lifting. Next slide, please. Thankfully, though, we have an opportunity for a win-win for both data workers and companies. What if by fixing this unjust labor market, we can actually create pathways out of poverty for people that need it? Next slide, please. Well, that's really where Karya comes in. Sorry, next slide. So India has almost 230 million economically disadvantaged people. That is more than any other country in the world. What we do at Karya is we connect these people that are fundamentally in need of flexible and remote work directly to the AI ecosystem to create economic opportunities and pathways out of poverty. Our work is primarily comprised of local language speech data collection and text and video and image annotation and labeling. Next slide, please. Our offer to our workers is simple, with a focus on ethics, inclusion, and access. We pay 20 times the local Indian minimum wage. Our work is 100% smartphone-based, and our tasks don't even require extensive training or internet connection. Next slide. To date, we've been lucky to deploy over 40 million digital tasks using our platform, and we've employed 32,000 people across 22 states in India to do this. Next slide. So our ecosystem has 3 core programs: Earn, Learn, and Grow. Earn is our digital work platform. Learn is about market resilient skilling, and Grow is about career guidance. Today, what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is a recent intervention that we have in Karya Learn that kind of explores this nexus between skilling, jobs, and AI. Next slide, please. So at Karya, one of the things that we've really been exploring is this model of learn to earn. And we kind of started with this hypothesis. If low-income people are given the financial incentives to learn new skills or content, then their willingness to engage and learn is actually stronger. So putting it simply, can digital work actually be an effective way to learn skills and information, all the while being paid for the work that you're doing? Next slide, please. So today I want to give you a little bit of a study, an overview of a study that we did, which is that we created a financial literacy curriculum in Marathi, which is one of the languages in India. It's 9 modules long, and it focuses on basically teaching people how to do financial planning, savings, how to pay through your phone, fixed deposits, etc. We employed 50 low-income participants that had no bank accounts or not much knowledge of financial literacy, with 37 of them finally being included into the study just based on your general mobilization attrition. Each of these people earned 2,000 rupees, or roughly $25 in earnings, for approximately 90 minutes of work over 15 days. We did this in a semi-urban area of Maharashtra, where many of the people have generationally been stone quarry workers, and many of the people in the study have actually traditionally earned less than $300 a year. Next slide, please. So some very early insights from this. And so basically, I'll just kind of share with you how this task went. So we put this module onto our smartphone application, and all people had to do was engage through a chat-based interface and read out sentences that were prompted to them. They had to read them out, record them, and send it back. We have basically an AI program within our models that quickly gives feedback and determines whether or not the quality of that voice data is good. That is kind of our main way of collecting data for clients. And we wanted to test, well, what if that data actually had useful information in it, right? What if that data had learning content? Could there be some sort of knowledge gain? So we were very excited to see that there was a 41.6% mean increase in the post-test scores of our 37 participants, which gives us a lot of confidence that there is the potential for this kind of model to kind of be taken forward, right? Second is that we realized there was an extreme effectiveness of the story-based format that we employed. So we basically created characters and took them through financial planning situations. And we realized that this resonated very heavily with them. And what is useful for us to take back is most of our clients, when it comes to creating AI data sets, they are interested in the sounds of people's voices, and they're often less interested in the exact composition of the corpora, right? They can say, generally, we want to have speech data about finance, but they don't necessarily care how that is obtained as long as the data is valuable for them. So this was a very important learning for us to say that we can craft corpora in a way that collects not only high quality data, but also gives people an opportunity to learn very critical information. In addition to this, we were able to collect a lot of domain specific data that has a lot of value. So we were able to collect over 50 hours of high quality data, which we anticipate to be worth around $20 to $25 per hour in the market today. Next slide, please. So what does this really mean for us? So I think for us, this sets the stage for saying, not only AI, but I guess platforms like ours, platforms that focus on connecting, rural Indians to this type of digital work, also have the opportunity to think about how we can make learning a part of that agenda. So for us, we're going to do a much larger study in the next year that actually focuses on not only increasing the sample size, but also really delving deep into understanding the financial behavior change and the actual knowledge retention. And we're also extending this model to include fundamentally curriculums in digital literacy, data literacy, and digital skills for the 21st century. Because what this has taught us is, at a very basic level, when people are able to learn through the work that they're doing, they're not only more incentivized to do the work, but also more incentivized to learn. And we really see this methodology and this UI approach as a very strong opportunity to give low-income people the opportunity to gain critical skills without having to take themselves out of the market or putting themselves in a situation where they're not actually able to financially gain from the time that they're spending. Next slide, please. So I think, there's one kind of question and thought that I want to leave with you all today. So at Karya, we really believe that AI and the AI training data industry has the potential to be a catalyst for career opportunities and for the future of work. But in order to really make it ethical, we need to be conscious and intentional about how that data is built. And that's why I really want to leave you back with the question to ask yourselves, do you know where your data comes from? And if you are kind of contributing to building AI models, it's very important to think of not only who's producing that data, but what value are they getting out of it, not only monetarily, but beyond that, because we really do have the potentials with these technologies to actually create transformational futures for a lot of the people that have been left behind in the global South. So we all in this room have the power to leverage AI for good, and I invite you to join us and make ethical data together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia. Last presentation by Alvin.
Thank you so much, and happy to be part of this conversation. Generation is a global youth education to employment program whose mission is to transform, transform education to employment systems to prepare, place, and support young people into career opportunities that will otherwise be inaccessible. We have trained more than 27,000 young people in Kenya in different programs, but of particular interest to us is the freelancing program. The rise of freelancing opportunities in Kenya has supported a large number of young people to get work in freelancing, but we continue to experience a huge gap in quality skilling and training, but also the support that these young people need in terms of mentorship to eventually connect them into job opportunities. What we have done in Kenya is that we have launched a freelancing program that trains on virtual assistance, transcription, data analysis, and digital marketing. Our goal is to equip these young people to ensure that they have the right digital skills, but also they are able to earn from the skills that they get. Next slide. One of the things that we do, we have a robust methodology that we use at Generation that starts from recruiting the right learners into this program. We ensure that we are engaging learners who are not in education, employment, or training. Then we mobilize them through different platforms, through social media, community engagement, referrals, and partnerships with government. This is one of the programs where we've been lucky to anchor it through a partnership with different county governments. Then we take these young people through a screening that looks at their literacy, ensure that they have the right documents, numerical capability, and basic computer skills. After that, we take them through an 8 weeks training program that teaches them the technical skills, behavioral skills, and also professional skills. After that, we then onboard them into a robust mentorship and alumni support structure that I would want to spend the next few minutes talking about. Next slide. We realized that one of the significant gaps that we have, especially with newbie freelancers, is the lack of information. And we asked ourselves, how do we support these young people to ensure that they don't just have the information, but they're able to actually use the skills that they have to get employment. Freelancing is a vast open market, and we have very few employer partners, and so that means it's very competitive. And so how do we support these young people to ensure that they have an edge and they're able to get continued employment? And what we've done is that we have partnered with super agents who are experienced freelancers, and they support us. And the reason why we've partnered with these freelancers is they have long periods of expertise, they have knowledge of where to get freelance work, they understand the bidding process, and they understand the difficulties that these young people face. Our mentorship structure is, it's actually a 1 year long mentorship structured into 3 phases. The first phase, which is the 6 weeks apprenticeship period, is a very intensive period where we support these young people with an understanding, because these are newbie freelancers. They only have the skills. They don't understand how bid platforms work, how tech platforms work. So the question is, how do we then support them to understand how do they bid, how do they optimize their platforms? You know, how do they eventually get to engage with new clients in these platforms? We also provide additional support during this period because we realize these young people are from vulnerable backgrounds. We support with fair reimbursement because our model is blended with them attending mentorship in one of in our digital hubs for 3 days during the day, the week, but also 2 days virtually. Our earning targets for these young people during the 6 weeks apprenticeship period is a target of $50 for at least 6 weeks, so that we can show them that there is earnings in freelancing before we can transition to the next phase. Next slide. The next phase is a light touch 4.5 months period, and what we consider now is that these freelancers who are newbies, they are now at an intermediate stage where they understand the nitty-gritties of freelancing and they are better equipped. But that doesn't mean that they have now received adequate information to run on their own. So we still avail to them 3 to 4 hours of virtual sessions per week. And these mentees have the option to choose now the area of specialization. We have themed specialized sessions where we support them with specific gaps that they might be facing. We realize that the freelancing world is changing very fast, especially with AI, and there's that continued need for us to support them to ensure that they are earning. During this period, our monthly earning target for these young people is at least $100 from freelancing related work. We've seen very good results that we'll be discussing in later stages. Then we eventually transition them into the last phase, which is the 6 months phase, which is, we call it the on-demand mentorship phase. And at this point, we consider these freelancers as experts because they have already gone through the intensive apprenticeship period. They have gone through a 4.5 months of working as freelancers. And at this point, we not only support with mentorship, but we also support them with upskilling. And what do I mean by upskilling? For instance, when we started the first cohort, transcription was totally different from what it is now. Young people only needed to listen to an audio, then they could transcribe. Right now, that has changed into proofreading because AI can do transcription. And so when we get to this stage of phase 3, we support these young people with upskilling to understand what are the new skills, what are the new trends in employment, so that they can continue to have a sustained income even as they do freelancing work. The next page. We've seen some really interesting results from our early cohorts. We started this program in 2022, and from our early cohorts, we are seeing success across the different indicators that I've mentioned, with 89% of our graduates earning the first earning target of 50 during the 6 weeks apprenticeship. We've also seen that this trend continue, with alumni reporting a median income of about $109 3 months after graduation. And that increases to at 6 months to about 150 respectively. Between 23 to 37% of our alumni report achieving our target of $100 post-apprenticeship, with 23 to 32 of them hitting our target of 150. So for us, we are really excited, and we hope that we can continue to embed this program and support more young people to be able to gain more skills, but also continue to work and have sustained income through freelancing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you, Sophia. Very, very informative session. And as we are about to close, I would like to give you 1 minute each, just for to share your ideas on one question that was posed in the chat, which is very relevant, like when we think about development, which is really how we scale up these initiatives, how we scale up what you describe without losing like the quality, while keeping such attention to training, to people, to earnings. So that's, I give you 1 minute each. If you could please share your thoughts about this question, and then we'll close. So Esther, would you like to start with the closing remarks?
Yes. So from my side, there's really one answer to this, and that is promoting good business. When businesses think about their work, they need to think not just about profit, but also about impact. If we can create an economy and a society where businesses feel the responsibility to also make an impact in their work and to think about not only the environmental, the social, but also broader about their impact across the world, then we will ensure that we can scale these programs. Because yes, I'm sure that my other colleagues can say that it is difficult to compete against organizations and companies that consistently push the price down in unethical practices. And it's really important that we have these global discussions about what does a good business look like, and include ethics in that.
Thank you, Esther. Sophia?
Thank you so much.
Words from you?
I mean, I think just tagging on to what Hester said, I think we also need to think deeply about different types of structures in which people can actually contribute to these ecosystems, right? So thinking about things like cooperative and really challenging the idea of what is ownership and who should have central ownership of things like data and models. So I would just kind of challenge everyone to kind of think about the status quo that we have right now and to think about how we can approach it differently.
Yeah. Alvin?
Thank you so
Anyone
much. I
from you?
think, yeah, I think for us, one thing is that we have to always remember that young people are stakeholders, and everything that we do has to be centered around their pain points. How do we create partnerships that ensure we are solving their main problems? Access to infrastructure is a very big challenge for these young people who are getting into freelancing. Access to information, ensuring that we are able to create models that are accessible beyond urban areas, and we can be able to reach rural areas. Those are some of the things that I think will be very critical to ensure that we're able to scale these models. And then how do we eventually use AI? I think AI is here and we can't ignore it. And so, yeah, I think that for me, that those are some of the things that we can't ignore when you think about scaling these models. Thank you.
That's very true. Thank you. Well, I would like to thank our speakers for sharing their innovative ideas and businesses. Right, I've been really impressed by the innovation that has gone into those examples, and it's good to see young people driving this agenda. It was an excellent informative session. As I mentioned earlier, you all reminded us of the opportunities that digital technology can offer. Like Esther showed us that the opportunities are really at all levels. Safia showed that this goes well beyond jobs. It also provides incentives to learning, which is what we call a social externality. And Alwyn showed that this can really improve earnings, which is one of the most difficult challenges, I would say, in development. But he also reminded us of the challenges, right? The privacy, the unbalanced power between the workers and the employer. Safia talked about justice. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of challenges, but definitely we need more, youth, forthcoming youth with your innovative ideas. So with that, I would like to thank you one more time and thank all of you for joining us to this session. And with that, goodbye, and please join our next session that actually it's starting in 2 minutes. And thank you very much. Bye bye.